To the Walk-Ons. I'm joined with Spinnaker Sports editor John Watson, Mr. Stuart Webber from Action News Jax. How you doing today, Stuart?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day in Jacksonville. What's there to complain about?
Nothing, I guess.
Not a single thing.
So I'm in Jacksonville right now. I'm in Jacksonville for a couple of days, just seeing friends. John's in Tampa. Stuart's in Jacksonville, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Nice. So we're all kind of quarantined in different places. But Stuart, what was your path like from college to Action News Jax?
Well, so I grew up in South Florida, down in West Palm Beach. Went to the University of Florida, great journalism program there, as a lot of folks know. It's no UNF, but no, I had a great time in Gainesville, and it prepared me very well for the field because I wanted to be a sports person, and there were some really good sports when I was there, suffice to say. So my senior year was 06-07 when we won football and basketball in the same season. Not a bad way to go out of college, for sure, but it also prepared me for the business, helped me put together a great reel, being able to cover a lot of those great events, going out to Arizona to cover the BCS National Championship, win over Ohio State, being on the field shooting that event. That stuff prepared me well for what I wanted to do in this business, and that's cover sports. So from there, it was off to Midland, Odessa, Texas, covering the Permian Panthers and the Friday Night Lights. That was something. West Texas, out in the middle of nowhere. So that was fun. You cut your teeth in these small markets and learn everything you can. You make your mistakes there, and then you work your way up. So I did that. After 2 years, I went to Columbus, Georgia. Spent 2.5 years there. The big thing you cover there is Auburn. It's in the market area. It's about a 45-minute drive because Columbus is right on the border of Alabama and Georgia. So that was a nice kind of step up from predominantly high school coverage to college coverage, and then onto an NFL city and pro coverage. So that's when I came to Jacksonville in 2012, and just love it here. Absolutely love it here. It's been terrific. As far as TV sports markets go, I mean, it is just sensational with what we're able to cover. Having not only a pro team, but the best pro sport to cover being the NFL and football, because it's year round and it's the number one sport in America. So, if you're going to have one, it might as well be an NFL team. It's kind of been my philosophy on it. And then the alma mater being an hour and a half away is great to head down to Gainesville and cover a lot of those games. And, I'm a big NASCAR guy, so we got Daytona. I love golf. We got the players. We got beaches. What else can you have here in Jacksonville? So, no, it's been awesome. And as much as the market has been a big reason why I've loved being here in Jacksonville and have stayed here, it's also our team that we have. The group of sports reporters and anchors that we have at Action News Jax has just been awesome. Brent Martineau, the hardest working man in all of show business. Dan Hicken, who is just a riot. He's ridiculous, as you probably can tell from any interaction with him. And then Marcel Robinson, another one of those grinders, just an awesome guy who he's been with us now for, I want to say, 3 years, and he's just continued to work his way up and gotten better and improved those parts of his skill set that needed work. And that's part of this business is you always have weaknesses that you can work on. And it's awesome doing sports because you're going to do everything and you're going to be able to improve those weaknesses. So that's kind of a little synopsis of the last 13 years and the road to get here to Jacksonville and where we are today.
So what's been your favorite thing about Jacksonville sports over the last 8 years you've been in Jacksonville?
I think for me, the thing I really like the most is the variety, and I've thought, hey, should I be using maybe my skills that I have in one particular sport and try to focus on one thing? Because I consider myself a pretty good shooter of golf. Like I can shoot a golf ball from far away, very tight. On air, I do amazing with NASCAR. I can talk NASCAR nonstop without a script. I can do that kind of stuff. So I've kind of thought to myself, how would it be different if I was to only cover one sport, one team, and kind of do it that way? And I feel like I would lose out on things because the great thing about Jacksonville and just the way the sports calendar unfolds here in town is it keeps it fresh. You have football season, which is it's long And at the end of it, you're ready for it to be over. But then a month after it's over, you're ready for it to start again. That's the irony of football season, is that it is, we're working 6 days a week. We're doing 60, 70-hour weeks. You're really putting in the work during that time of year, but it doesn't feel like it because it's just so much fun. It's the exhilaration that you get on a Friday night covering high school football. It cannot be recreated in any other sporting event that you cover. High school football on a Friday night is such a awesome TV news experience, because a lot of people, you might think, okay, well, college is better or NFL's better. The Friday night show, you got a half-hour show at 10:30. Games start at 7 or 7:30, and usually your show is, 20% done, and everyone's coming into the building from 9 to 9:30 to 10 and throwing this whole thing together in like a half hour and turning it all around as quickly as possible, and then bam, you're on the air and you're doing the high school football show. Like, I can't fall asleep on Friday nights until like 3 a.m. because that adrenaline rush is just flowing through you to where you need time for it to come back down before you can even go back to sleep, which is good because I usually post video to the web that night and do that side of the job. But I do love that aspect of Jacksonville sports in that it keeps fresh. You got football season, and it's not only Jags, but college and high school, keeping that week, well-rounded, where you have something just about every single day. And the way we do shows now, we have something just about every day, where we have a Monday show for the Jaguars, a Thursday show for the Jaguars, the Friday high school show, the Saturday college stuff, the Sunday Jaguars grind is on again. And then you breathe on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on which day you get off. So I usually get Tuesday off during football season. So that's my day to breathe. And then Wednesday, you're gathering sound in the locker room, and away you go, and right back into the next week. But then, once football season's over, we go to the Super Bowl every year. We go cover that big event, which is a tremendous, experience every year. You hate to be spoiled by it, but you get there and you're like, all right, here we go, another Super Bowl, another week. And you have to remind yourself that there are so many people out there who would kill to do what we get to do. And I mean, I absolutely love the job. So I consider myself very lucky in that regard, that, I get to do what I love. Now, I'm qualified to do what I love, and I put in a lot of hard work to do it. So I don't think I'm here by accident. But at the same time, you have to be able to understand that, this is a great job, and I'm fortunate to do it.
Now, John and I covered the UNF game in Gainesville this past year, and their spread from media is the best. Like PDQ sandwiches in the bag, like drinks, like it's perfect.
Yeah, no, the Gators athletic department has done a good job taking care of the media over the years. I remember covering gymnastics meets in college because they'd have pub subs there. Chicken, not chicken tender. They couldn't do chicken tender because it doesn't transfer well and sit in like a that sort of setting. But like turkey and ham and boar's head and all this good stuff. So they'd have public subs waiting for you. And be like, and you got to cover gymnastics, which was my favorite sport to cover because every athlete was shorter than me, which is just terrific if you ask me. Every camera shot was down instead of, how hard it was on my back covering the Florida Gator basketball team with Joe Kim Noah, Al Horford, Corey Brewer. Every interview was like this. I'm 5'8". They're 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". Like, camera on your shoulder? Oh, it was awful. Gymnastics, never a problem.
I was talking to Scotty Lewis after that game, and I was like, oh, hey, Scotty, like, it was surreal how tall he is. I'm 6'1", so.
Hey. Yeah, imagine being 5'8" and having that same camera on your shoulder.
Not everyone can be 6'6",
Okay,
no,
John,
no, they can't.
Chill, John.
Yeah, I'm 6'6", so we're chilling.
Well, in this camera shot, we're all the same height, so you know what? It's all good. And by the way, when it comes to in a studio, you're all the same height. So, that's TV is the great equalizer for people who might not be tall. And I kind of knew what I was getting into in middle school. So I took the elective, TV news elective in middle school. And when I was anchoring, I had to sit on 2 phone books to match the height of the girl next to me. So like, I kind of knew what I was in for at that point. And now, luckily, the shots, if it's a solo shot, I don't worry about it. If it's like a shot with David Garrard, I got a box I can stand on. It's fine. No problem.
It's fine. What's been your favorite Jacksonville moment over, in your time here?
That's a good question.
That maybe you've covered.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously 2017 with the Jaguars was awesome, going to the AFC Championship game. That was cool, because I was cold. It was very cold. But I was colder the week before in Pittsburgh for the divisional round, surprisingly. It was chillier for that one. But the Patriots game, yeah, I mean, just knowing that, hey, we're so close to getting to cover not just the Super Bowl, but our team in the Super Bowl, which is a whole nother level that I don't know if we truly be prepared for, to be honest, because we've seen like the teams that these TV stations have to send to go cover their actual NFL team in the Super Bowl. And, they're sending 15, 20 people where we're used to sending 2 or 3, for our purposes with the team not in it. So it would take on an entirely different feel of covering the Super Bowl. But covering that game and just that whole run was just wild because obviously a lot of people would think, yeah, we're going to beat Buffalo. That's a home game. But then beating Pittsburgh and then going up, double digits on the Patriots like we did, it was funny because that same year we had a preseason game with New England, and we did the joint practices, right? And so when we were up there, we just got this vibe from everybody there that they were not threatened by us in the slightest. And I don't blame them. Obviously, the Jaguars were awful the year before. So, they're like, oh, yeah, come on, hang out in Foxborough. Come check out all our sites here in August in the preseason. And, great to have you here. And then when we came back in January, it was a whole different vibe because, the AFC title was on the line. So that was kind of a cool aspect of it. But, some of the other things that were awesome for me, covering the Daytona 500 when Dale Earnhardt Jr. won it in 2014, big Dale Jr. fan. So to be on the pits, reporting as he crossed the finish line, whew, that was really cool. For me personally, just doing that. And yeah, I mean, there's been so many good moments just over the time, but those are a couple that stick out for me.
Like on Saturday, you guys do like fan polls on Saturdays for Action Sports Jacks. How's that increased engagement, do you think, for your show?
How does it say that again?
How's that increased engagement, do you think, for your show?
Yeah, no, definitely. Engagement, it's huge, especially right now. Just, we're a little short on content, as you guys may know, but it's the future, and we have this technology. So it's a lot of fun to be able to use that and to kind of pull the audience and to get people's takes, and then to be able to present it in a visually pleasing way. We have some technology called Tagboard that we use, where essentially you're just aggregating all these social media posts, putting it on the screen, and then that's our touch screen where we can kind of flip between the different things. So I think it's awesome to be able to use that engagement, but to be able to do it in a way that's clean and smooth from a technical standpoint in the broadcast. Like 6 years ago, we would do a Twitter question of the day, but we didn't have like a cool graphic or anything like we have now. So we had a fake bird with a note card in his mouth on a fishing pole, and we hang it into the shot, and then you grab it and get the card and read it, because we didn't have anything cool like we have now. Now we still made the most out of it and had fun with it, and got that fan engagement. So that was cool, but it's nothing like we have now, where we have the ability and we built that kind of, that interaction with the fans on social media. It's such an important part of the job right now. It's not like the old days where everybody tunes in at 6 o'clock to see what the local sports guy has to say about, really back then it would be everything. So, local sports back in the day would be less about local sports, more about that sports guy talking about sports as a whole. So a lot of national stories, a lot of, big time stuff that you can get on ESPN. Well, the great thing about Jacksonville, ESPN really doesn't care about Jacksonville other than ESPN 690. Be sure to listen every day from 3 to 6 o'clock. Anyhow.
The plug.
That's right. Got to throw in the plug for our radio side, which has been a fun thing. We can get in that later. But, ESPN doesn't cover the Jaguars. They'll give them like 10 seconds here and there, or, when like Jalen Ramsey was spouting off, they throw some of that on there. And Calais is one of the few people who brought good things, and Gardner Minshew obviously this last year. But for the most part, they don't really cover us here in Jacksonville. So it's very important for us to be able to bring that local side of sports and show the audience, and not just on TV. Now you got to do it on social media. when we're done with these big shows that we do on the weekend, Saturday and Sundays, prime times, we're clipping off these large segments and trying to put it everywhere we can. So YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the IGTV. I mean, we're getting it everywhere we can, so as many eyes can see it that want to see it and can ingest that, content whatever way they want. So fan engagement is huge, and really reaching everyone wherever they are is huge, because it's funny how different teams, their fan bases kind of congregate towards different social media channels. Like I've noticed, obviously Twitter is huge for the Jaguars because there's a lot of people in the 20s and 30s that are using Twitter. Jacksonville Sharks do huge on Facebook anytime we would do anything with them, because it's a little bit of an older crowd that tend to go to those Sharks games, and a lot more of a Facebook kind of crowd. So, you make sure to kind of realize where they're going to be and push that content towards those different channels.
You really got to be a multimedia journalist, I guess, and in some sorts, and the new market. How is it, if you're on air and you get like a live update, how is it, covering that when you don't really have a script?
Yeah. One of the
if
things
that
is
happens,
that you have a producer in your ear,
Mm-hmm.
but for a lot of the shows that we do, those weekend shows are not till 10:30 on a Saturday and Sunday, so we don't really get as much live breaking stuff. And the producer in our ear is a news producer that
Mhm.
really isn't doing anything. I'll call them out on it. I don't mind saying it. They're hitting space bar to keep the timing right, and telling me how far I'm over or under in the show. So they're doing a job, but they're not there to contribute to the sports side of the show.
Mhm.
Now, when we do like the live shows from Mellow Mushroom or from Top Golf for the Jaguars, then I'm usually the one in the booth, and I'm talking to Brent and Dan, or Brent and Calais is what it was last year, and Jeff Lageman. And in those situations, then you can kind of relay it, and you just got to be good at ad-libbing. And a lot of those shows are very ad-lib driven. You'll have your topics and you'll have the rundown, and whoever's producing in the booth and talking to you in your ear will kind of talk you through the different steps of, hey, here's what's next, and then we'll reconvene in this next soundbite, and I'll tell you what's up after that. So there is a balance between the scripted stuff versus the unscripted stuff. And sometimes I prefer to be unscripted in certain scenarios, because it allows you to, not feel scripted. I mean, obviously that's exactly what it is, but it allows you to kind of form your own thoughts and push them out there. And like with my NASCAR segments on Saturday night, anytime I do one of those, it's completely unscripted. Just because, like I said, I'm comfortable. I can look at a full wall of information about NASCAR. I know I've already watched the last week's race. I can spout that stuff out without any problem. And it's really a comfort level, because some sports, or some jobs, you have to know a lot about one sport, right? In local TV news, you have to know a lot about some sports and at least enough about all the others. You have to be able to, flip from one thing to another and still sound like you know what the heck you're talking about, and actually know what the heck you're talking about. Like if it's a soccer game, if it's baseball, if it's football, all over the map, heck, hockey. I grew up in South Florida, not a huge hockey guy, but each step of the way in my local sports journey, I've had hockey teams that I've covered, from the Odessa Jackalopes to the Columbus Cottonmouths and now to the Icemen. So, you still have to know every sport, at least to an extent. And if you don't know it, you got to learn it. You got to figure it out. Like I did with cricket a few years ago. I was sick one day. I had nothing else to do. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn how cricket works today. And so I did. And so now I know how cricket works. I know all the mechanics in case it ever comes up in Jacksonville.
I'm also a South Florida guy too, so out from Jupiter. Went to Dwyer High School actually, growing up.
Come on, boo!
Hey, come on, wait,
Oh boy.
what was that?
Dwyer, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have agreed to this. I would not have. I went to Palm Beach Gardens High School, and I would not have agreed to this had I known that you went to Dwyer High School. Unbelievable.
There's a thing called respect. We're putting on that name for Dwyer, with that football program's a power plant. But I'll digress from that glory of Dwyer. But into my next question, I acknowledge your shrine in the back of soccer. What's your best gear you have in the back?
I got a bunch of stuff back here. So, you got all the soccer scarves, and I love to travel. I love to go overseas, and I've been to, 20 something countries, whatever. But when I go to somewhere, I love to go to a soccer game, because they have it at almost every single country. It's a worldwide sport, and the camaraderie and just the way you're able to communicate, even if you don't know the language with people, is so much fun. And like the one right here in red and blue, that one's from Tokyo. I went to Japan actually this week, like 4 or 5 years ago. And the game at FC Tokyo was my favorite part of the entire trip, because I was lost in the train station, had no idea where I was going. And I was wearing my Jacksonville Armada gear. And some guys saw me wearing soccer stuff, and they're like, "Soccer game?" And I was like, "Yes, come with me." And so like I hung out with these guys not only for the game, but like all the way until like 3 a.m. that night. It was a crazy night. But like we did a scarf exchange, So there's a random guy in Tokyo who has a Jacksonville Armada scarf, and I have his FC Tokyo scarf. So, that's kind of the genesis of the scarves, where, you get Tokyo up there, you got the Fulham Football Club, which is, of course, owned by Shad Khan, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, who I went to last year, which was awesome, FC Barcelona, which is just an amazing experience in Spain, Ajax in Amsterdam. I'm half Dutch, so I got to represent my Dutch roots. Yeah, that's kind of where the scarves come from, and then just a whole bunch of other random stuff, including there's the varsity letter from the Gardens Gators right there. So you're welcome. You're welcome, Blair.
Is that baseball, or what'd you play?
Oh, I played a bunch of stuff. So I did bowling, cross country, soccer, and track and field.
Gotta love the bowling, man.
Heck yeah, man! It's a great story. My sister was on the swim team as a manager. She was a senior and I was a freshman. Growing up in South Florida, you know how to swim, right? But I'd never swam competitively. So I was like, yeah, I'll try out for the swim team. Why not, right? Let's give it a shot. That was a terrible idea, obviously. So I get home after that first day of tryouts. It's like 4 p.m. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to take a nap. I'll wake up for dinner. I didn't wake up for dinner. I woke up the next morning just because I was just so completely tired. I woke up the next morning and I was like, nope, no, I'm done. I'm done with this. So I tried out for bowling that afternoon, and I ate cheese fries while I was trying out, and I made the team, and I was like, this is it. I found my sport. So, and I still love bowling today. I do the Jack Scene, leagues here in Jacksonville, which is just a whole lot of fun. Good social outings with coworkers and other friends from around the beaches. So, yeah, that's the stuff in the background there for you.
I gotta join your league, man. I love bowling. I bowl almost every day, honestly.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, the Jack Scene ones are very much a social league. So
okay, got you.
There are some people who get competitive in there. I use it as a way to try and get a little less competitive, because, bowling is one of those perfection sports that if you're not as high as you think you should be, it's going to drive you nuts. Like golf. Golf's the same way. You can always get better in golf, just like you can almost always get better in bowling. Although obviously if you get a 300, you can't get better than that. But I've not gotten close to a 300, so I haven't had to worry about that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and a good way to kind of rewind, have a drink, and relax with friends.
Gotta love it. But yeah, we're all stuck in quarantine right now. I'm not too sure if the alleys are open up there, but you got top 3 quarantine snacks? I'd love to ask this question.
Good question here.
Yeah.
Ooh, top 3 quarantine snacks. That's a good question. So, I guess for one of them, I like to go by Taco Lou and get some tacos to go. I've done that a few times during quarantine. It's weird, though, that you asked me about snacks, because I'm in the process of selling my house and finding another one nearby. And so, like, I've really just been clearing out all the excess food that I have in my house. So I haven't really been buying as many snacks as I probably should. I do like they got these little 3-way snacks in, like, the deli aisle, where it's like cheese, nuts, and like cranberries, all like 3 in 1. Those are pretty solid. I like those. And I guess the other one would probably be beer. There's been a lot of beer consumed during the quarantine. Got to support the local breweries. I've been doing my part to get around to the different areas and help them out.
Being the hero there.
Do it for the community,
We had Kelly Sacco on the show. She's a Marlins in-game host / broadcaster. Her pick was a kale chips, and we were like shook. We were like, is that a real answer? Is that
kale chips?
Yeah, as her go-to quarantine snack.
God bless it. Well, hey, to each their own. I mean, they make them, so someone's buying them. You know?
Kelly Sacco. I can't.
Yeah, no, I just, I'll make a bag of popcorn here and there. I don't have anything super exotic right now that I can think of off the top of my head as far as snacks go. Kind of a boring snack guy, I guess.
So ask South Florida guys, is a question here, only one good answer. So of all places in Gardens and Jupiter, where's the best place for wings?
Oh,
That's correct.
that's a good one. That'll be Duffy's.
That's the wrong answer. I was hoping to get the right answer, Stuart. It's the Thirsty Turtle.
Thirsty Turtle's solid. Yeah, no, I've been there a few times as well. I like Duffy's. I grew up on going to Duffy's. Thirsty Thursdays, Thirsty Turtles, not Thirsty Thursdays. That's a whole different thing here in Jacksonville. We would go there in like high school when they started doing like some really good wing nights where it was just like super cheap, and we were high school kids, so we ate a lot of wings. So some good times had at the Thirsty Turtle.
So that's all we have today for Stuart. Or again for your time today, Stuart, and best of luck the rest of the season covering sports.
Yeah, thanks guys, and appreciate you guys having me on. It's been an interesting time, obviously, for everybody. We're really hopeful to kind of get back to a little bit more of the norm, but in the meantime, we're all doing our best to bring that coverage that we can from all the different sports here in Jacksonville to everybody at home, and hopefully they're enjoying it. And like you said, interacting with us, engagement being such a huge thing right now. We're hopeful football season gets back to normal when it gets here. But in the meanwhile, everyone's just staying safe and enjoying what they can, including soccer from overseas if you have to. Premier League getting started back up right now, so there's still plenty of sports, and there's always going to be sports for us in some way, shape, or form for us to talk about. So hopefully we'll stay employed. That's the plan.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. That's right, guys.